Outer Orange.
Hello and welcome. So this is the top standard one. Honestly, standard hasn't changed too much. Actually, I would say standard is actually kind of the same right now because all that's changed is Magnolia went away and Thegria randomly started showing up. But honestly, it hasn't changed too much. We had the two Thegria, one Kyrie, one Gravidia, one Nirvana, one Flagberg, one Buffsaga, one Lorone make it through to top 8. Some people were always surprised by Lorone. I'm honestly not that surprised. It takes a little bit more luck, but when you tell your opponent 68k with a no Sentinel restriction added onto it, it is insanely hard to guard. It has a crit on it, all that fun stuff. So honestly, it's not surprising to see Lorone still pop up to this day. The deck does not like retire, but luckily enough, like the only real thing that retires is mainly Gravidia and Flagberg. So you know, you can still kind of get around those matchups. Kyrie doesn't really retire, so you can play into Kyrie pretty well, and that's probably why the person decided to take Lorone. And then we had Thegria. I'm still surprised that Thegria has been showing this much results. I've personally have been anti-Thegria. I thought Thegria was a good deck this whole time. I'm actually surprised to see Thegria is still like doing this well. Actually, one of the Thegria people is someone I personally know, which is Frank. So Frank was actually topping, and I'm actually so surprised and so thankful, I guess, that Frank tops, because he was very anti-standard for the longest time. So seeing him make it through to both days, by the way, he tops. So very awesome to see, because he's been kind of not as into Vanguard recently, playing more Digimon. So it's very awesome to see. Kind of surprised Lorone made it. I'm not surprised Lorone made it. I'm still more surprised. I am more surprised that a Thegria made it than a Lorone made it. I'm gonna be real. I'm moving my chat so I can see y'all a little bit easier. But anyway, so that being said, hello, welcome in, cool kid, welcome in everyone. Hi Peter. Peter, I forgot. I didn't forget. Is that the local parent or Outer Orange? It is the local parent Outer Orange. It's me. I'm just a parent. I had you stay over. It was great. It was a pleasure having you. Peter, I brought your soda and I forgot to physically give you your soda. I'm so sorry. It was just in my car. I could have gave it to you when I was giving you back cards, and I never did that. But anyway, regardless, back to this. So yeah, Kyrie made it through, no surprise. Gravidia made it through, no surprise. Nirvana, Flagberg, Buffsaga. Buffsaga is kind of a weird one. I'm not gonna lie, but it did recently get some upgrades, so you know it's a better deck now. But I still don't think it's like if you're gonna play a 3-attack crit deck, you might as well just play Gravidia or Flagberg or just I don't know, Kyrie. Like I just think there's just better decks than what Buffsaga does, but that's just me personally. Here it is. So we had double Thegria for first and second, and we had the Gravidia make it for third, and we had fourth with Kyrie. This is the Thegria list. MLB looks different. It's a really good, we got a really good reaction to this. So yeah, pretty standard. Honestly, I think this is the only thing that might be a little bit weirder for people. I love this card. I think this card. So the reason probably why this deck did so well is this card is actually insane. This is an insanely good card. People really overshadow this card. I know it just says plus 10k, but you'd be surprised how aggressive this card is early on. When you mulligan and you open up two Fions, and you are going second, and you ride your grade 1, you draw that extra card, you slap a Fion on the right, you slap a Fion on the left, and you're telling your opponent these are both 10k, you swing with your Vanguard, you hit a front or a crit, doesn't even matter, and you tell your opponent, here, take 3 damage. It is actually so hard to deal with this. This is why PPO is actually keeping up, because of this card right here. This card is actually nuts. So they probably went for the early aggro approach, and that's why they ran this card, because if you early aggro like this, I can see why Thegria could actually make it to top tables, because Thegria has a restand. Thegria calls out units for free, and then you go, if you push your opponent like 3-4 damage and then tell your opponent, hey, I'm gonna restand my Vanguard, that is a lot of pressure that you're applying really early on. The second place list, I'm sure will be maybe similar, might be, this is Frankie's list if I'm not mistaken. This should be Frankie's list. So Frankie runs a little bit different engine. He runs this back row restanding column, which is, you know, similar, a little bit less aggro in the early on. He also runs the resist approach, and he runs the Persona Ride restand, or gains boost if you Persona Ride, and then it also restands. So he runs for so Frankie's approach, I'm pretty sure this is Frankie's list. Let me just make sure. Yeah, this is Frankie's list. So Frankie went towards the approach of Vanguard focused, so on grade 3 focused. So he went more towards the aggro part, like the aggro on grade 3 over like early aggression. Frankie's so based. I love Frankie. And no, even though I yell at him all the time, Frankie came over to say hi to me while I was quickly testing before vpremium, and I was like, go away, Frankie. It's being so mean. But anyway, it's so crazy to me. I'm not, like I said, it's not a bad way. I know he's a good player, but he has just been so against standard. And then him on Thegria was even more surprising because he's like a Dark States player and he was playing Bruce, and then I don't know, it's just all crazy to me. But I am happy to see. And then we have William. I'm assuming that this here's the Kyrie list. I'm going to say, oh, here's Frankie too. You can poke him right here. Naru Samurai. If you guys want his content name, that's his content name. Here is Kyrie. Let me see what Kyrie's doing. See if there's anything too specific. I assume it's pretty standard. Yeah, this is pretty standard. This is the Friends engine with the Kelpie. Oh my gosh. So one thing already that I love about this list is the fact that Bovamine is being run. Bovamine is just such a great card. Bovamine this list is actually probably pretty spot on to what you should be running. This list is pretty, I would say it is a little low on the meteors here, but that's fine. 7 is still a good number. Obviously they're running world, so you know the meteors will be the kind of the same. But anyway, regardless of that, so let's talk about Bovamine real quick. I need y'all to understand why Bovamine is a good card, specifically in Gravidia, why you want to play it, why specifically this card over other counter charges or other options. Hear me out. So we have this card called Burrito. Burrito says if you retire 3 units, get a crit. So when you are mirror matching a Gravidia player and you slap your grade 2 down, you slap your other grade 2 down, it's not what you have to do it, right? And then you slap a booster down. You are literally giving them the option to have the critical instantly. However, if you slap a Bovamine down, it disappears. It countercharges. It does everything you need to do, and it denies the crit in a mirror match. This is so important. This is why this card is beautiful. I'm always so surprised when I still don't see people running this card, because it helps you deny that counter blast, counter charge now that people will try to go towards, and then it'll also give you 2 rear guards on the board, not 3, aka shutting down the extra crit. That crit is super important. If they persona ride and they hit their 5 meters and they're hitting triggers, that crit can make a difference between a win and a loss, and that's why you want to have cards like these to help out with that, with those types of situations. So I think this is actually a very well built deck. So I don't think I know this person, but I am very happy that they did really well. So congratulations to them. So I entered V, and that was pretty fun. I did not enter V with what I probably should have entered with, but I entered V. So we talked about last week the potential decks that would be topping, and guess what? I thought I only hit like maybe one. I thought I hit 80% of them. I hit all of them. Every single deck that I said might be topped. I will be real with y'all. Some of these, is irregular spelled wrong? Is that how irregular is spelled? And anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't care. But anyway, so with that being said, some of these are kind of obvious, you know, like Shaharot, you know, Vanquisher, Gurgit. Those are kind of the obvious ones. But then you have the lesser obvious ones, and that is indeed Jewel Knights and the Steam Maidens and the Leopold. Those are the 3 decks that you'd be more surprised to see, right? And the reason, and why would you be surprised to see? Well, yeah, because Clan Collection just started. But FYI, Steam Maidens and Leopold are both insanely strong decks. I would actually say Steam Maidens is probably the strongest deck in the format right now. It is so insanely good. I wanted to bring it, and I had it built actually, and I didn't feel ready, so I didn't bring it. But the Steam Maidens is probably the strongest deck of the format. At some point I thought MFD was kind of close to it, but I think it needs like a puppy or maybe something a little bit more with soul to kind of help it. Dave brought up Quickie Worker. I will tell y'all right now, I didn't discuss it because I didn't want people countering my plays, but MFD is actually not far behind from all this that you're seeing right here. It's the one deck I didn't bring up because I didn't want people knowing what I was taking specifically for V, because if you play the deck, you kind of know how to play around it. It's still hard if they hit their 19 bind, but it's play aroundable because there's no stride turn, so the second turn is easier. However, the deck is by far not a bad deck. It's just bricky. The issue is this bricky. When it hits this condition, you kind of die, and when it doesn't hit its condition, you know, the player that's playing it dies. But I would say MFD isn't too far behind, but I will say Steam Maidens is more consistent in every level. I would say like a 3 to 5 round MFD would be fine, but an 8 round MFD does brick a lot easier. It kind of plays like Astro Poets, where if you brick, you just kind of die. So same situation here. But anyway, so with that being said, why Steam Maidens is doing well? Steam Maidens is an insanely good resource engine multi-attacking deck That is an irregular way to spell irregulars. Oh my gosh. We've made major restrictions on it. By resource heavy, I mean you get a lot of resources to hand. You can kind of mulligan a little bit easier, knowing that you can probably hit your grade 3, your grade 1. You draw a lot early on. Kind of does like the Gear Chronicle thing, but with the bind. You have like a lot of multi-attacking and all this stuff. And actually, both people that topped Steam Maidens are both people I know, one of which I was testing with. So them both topping, congratulations to both of them. They actually faced each other off, right? You know, it was actually a very sad finals. I'll talk about that later, unless you guys want to hear it now. But the finals is actually pretty sad. It was not like one of those extraordinary finals. It was very one-sided, and it was very unfortunate how it went down. But regardless, Vanquisher made it through too, and Royal and Jewel Knights made it through as well. Jewel Knights is very aggressive. Doesn't require counterboss to pop off. You can't really deny it. You just have to kill it before they get killed. Binding their drop zone is one of the few ways you can deny them. But otherwise, they kind of just keep doing their thing, and they get very aggressive for turn. Mon and Shahart, we discussed, obviously, like, no surprise there. The deck's good. The deck does his thing. A lot of decks run Heal Guardians that kind of get screwed by it. Now let's talk about Leopold. I've talked about Leopold, obviously, I think like 100 times, but I'll talk about it 101 times today. Because why not? Because why not? So Leopold is one of those decks where it just has a ton of resources as well, similar to Steam Maidens, has huge numbers. It keeps smacking. I don't think this list ran Culture Gorilla. I gotta double check. I'm assuming they didn't run Culture Gorilla, because Culture Gorilla is a super high roll type of approach. But here's the Leopold list, and then anyway, so yeah, this list does not run Culture Gorilla, which is perfectly fine. I don't recommend Culture Gorilla unless you really want to go towards like the high roll engine. I really like the fact that I actually know this person. I know this person too that topped, surprisingly enough. But Tester Fox, running it at 4 sometimes is not the go, because you'd be surprised, but it could brick you. But they also ran only 3 Leopold, which is very risky. But they ran like their searchers, and then they had like draw and like all this other stuff to kind of help out. With all the issues that the deck was having. I am surprised. Oh no, that's not. I was about to say, is that one lemur? I was about to be like, So this person is actually a Great Nature main, so I'm actually not surprised that they took Leopold. Like, I was expecting them. I saw them day 1, and I was like, they're taking Leopold reverse. Like, I kind of already knew. The deck's really good. It's like their main clan. Like, why not take it? I do like this card, by the way. This is something that I've been testing with too. Pretty much draws you a card, or you give your regards some 5k power. Kind of soul blast your thing. They're also running the Toucan. Toucan's amazing. Bounce some cards back to the hand. Do it all over again. And reactivate lemur, because why not? So mill some more. Make your boys bigger. Just really also just overall good stuff. Reset up this if you we can't reset up this, but you can reset up your on place abilities. So good stuff. You can reset up this if you want. You can reset this up, and fun fact, you get some triggers back to deck. You get some Excel markers. You draw a ton. You top 5. I know I bring this up a lot, but this deck just has so much going for it. It's not even funny. Like, it's just crazy. Oh, they're running a 3-1 split. That's very interesting. Probably into that DI matchup, just to have that extra 20k shield, because this deck doesn't kill instantly. It kind of takes a second to kill, and against DI, you definitely want that 20k shield. So, did we talk about this? Oh yeah, the Steam Maiden. So it was Steam Maiden, Leopold, and Vanquisher as the finals. Like, this was just like the ending results. Not too surprising. This match was very rough. These two, just pain, the biggest pain of my life. I wasn't there, but I heard about it, because Sakiv's like one of my close friends, and Antonio Tut I go to locals with, who's also a friend of mine. So I heard it from both of them. I heard the story from both sides instantly, by the way. Let's go over to good old Premium. Let's go find Premium. So Premium is an interesting one, as I didn't get a chance to talk about it with you guys, kind of how Premium was going to go. However, it is not too surprising that these results are not too surprising. I think the only one in here that people may have not known about was Dark Irregulars, because I was actually one of the people that didn't know, because I didn't test Dark Irregulars at all. I didn't know. But anyway, we got the flare. We got 2 mystery flares, 2 NOKs, 2 Narakamis of different variances. One is the Vanquisher approach. One is the Valiant Saber approach, whatever his name is. 1 Spikes, 1 Link Joker. I know the Link Joker player. I know one of the Gear players. I think I know both DI players, and the other MFD player that didn't make it in, that I knew that wanted to make it in, but they didn't make it in. I don't remember who was playing Spikes. Actually, fun fact, Bermuda Highlander almost made it into this. It was actually pretty close. They were like in the top tables for like the longest time. I think the last 2 rounds they got knocked down, so pretty unfortunate there. But Bermuda Highlander almost made it in. It was close, and there was actually a lot of ripples that were like between 10th and 14th place. Noman was one of them. He was like right there. He was like right there for the top 8 slots. So if you guys are thinking like, oh, ripples isn't that good, there was a lot of X2 ripples. Do I know both? Like, who's the other MFT player? Who's the other MFT player? I don't remember who was playing what. Franz was on. Oh, it was Frank. That's right. Because I remember because Frank didn't Frank step down and give the invite? I forgot. You're right. I do know. I forgot. And the thing is, Frankie was so busy. I didn't even get just to talk to him day 2. Oh yeah. So there was a lot of X2s. So if you are thinking that Ripples isn't a good deck, I could tell you right now, it's not a bad deck. They were literally right there. There was a ton of Ripples. They just didn't make it. There was a lot of X2s. And actually, this was one of the few where I think one X2 made it in, and then some stuff happened, and then another X2 took the spot. The only one I don't know too much about is the Link Joker Deleter matchup. However, I talked about it in person. I don't know if I talked about it too much on streamer videos, but I actually said that there might be a Link Joker that might make it to top 8. And the reason being is because they've been getting a lot of good cards, and their cards do things, and some people just have no idea how to play around them. So I was like, it could happen. And there was actually quite a bit of Link Joker players. There's a lot of Link Joker players, a lot of Gear Chronicle players, not just MFD, but all the other stuff. There's just overall a lot of variants. So yeah. And one got TQ'd and one made it in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 2 X2s made it in and one got TQ'd. Yeah. So there was some weird stuff going on with the rounds. Like I think there was no undefeateds, if I remember correctly. Because of that, there was a lot of X1s. And because there was a lot of X1s, there became a lot of X2s, and yada yada yada. But yeah, there's a lot of X2s of the good stuff, you know, I'm not gonna lie, guys, some of these matches just kind of end whether you like it or not. So you could be a Ripples player, the minute you face MFD, you could just get lost. You could just lose, and your run could just be just MFD players. And what do you do against that? If you roll, boom, bam, bam, bam. Here we go, top 4. So top 4 we had first place and second place, both Narukami. So something I brought up to some people that I talked to personally about premium format and sort of what to do. And my response, actually, like some people are asking like what's it take, and my direct response was like, take Narukami. I straight up what I said. I know I took MFD, but honestly, so I took MFD, I put my deck list in, can't really change it, right? So I spent a week testing, and I spent a week testing a lot into Narukami, and I found out very quickly just how good Narukami is. Very strong, very hard to go around, and overall, in a long tournament like this, where you have 8 rounds, Narukami has better matchups into random crap than like MFD and like say Ripples do. Yeah, we had NOK with Nicholas Fernando. Wait,
Oh yeah, NOK me harder.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, that's Nico, right? Okay, I'm not crazy. I'm making sure. I had to think about it. I was like, that's Nico, right? That's Nico. Don't give me that face. Don't give me. I know y'all are making that face right now. I know you guys. You got DQ. You got DQ. Nico would have gotten an interesting. True. We got an invite. Nico is so easily forgotten. Nico's not forgotten. Don't stop yelling at me. The chat is bullying me. Confirms. I'm in a room. Where's Nobin? I'm gonna explain this out to y'all exactly how Peter just said it. Guys, I'm in a room. Nothing but a door. Fists of Fury. A Nico walks in. How many Nikos can I handle? If I were to kill a Nico, another Nico respawns in a 15-minute. After 15 minutes, another Nico respawns. How many Nikos can I handle? If with just a room with nothing else in it but my raw fists and a Nico. 69? What do you mean 69? My answer was like 3, and then I said I would just bore Nico on the 3rd one. Like straight up, that was my answer. I was like, Nico will get so bored and lazy that he won't want to do anything. He won't try and kill me. That was my full on response to that when Noman was asking these questions. So for a little context, Noman spent the entire weekend asking people how many Nikos they could take and all this stuff, and it was a little bet on who could win, and we would base it off how many Nikos one person could handle over the other. It was a whole thing. Did you just freaking just clip that? Why did you clip that, Mash Cake? I won $3 whole, guys, and 33 cents because I bet on Peter. We had a little bet on who would win between Peter and Franz, who would get the furthest in the tournament. I think it was like V for day 1. It was they were playing standard, and yeah, I won. Is Orange going derp tonight? I'm always going derp. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Oh yeah.
NOK me harder. Premium got NOK'd harder. Premium did get NOK'd. Premium got very NOK'd. Premium got NOK'd. I don't think people were expecting NLK, to be honest with y'all. I wasn't. Like, I was like, yeah, Ripples, MFD, Vanquisher, you know, expecting all that, but I'm not gonna lie, I forgot DI was a clan for a second. So I would be real.